So I decided to put together a video regarding the Terminator, the Terminator series, because we had an incident that involved Skynet. And that's something that we haven't really talked about in a long time. It is regarding content that Peter discussed years ago. And after it came up, we went through all of the movies and try to piece together what maybe the message was and why this was coming up. And if in fact there is some type of parallel that's happening. So we touched on a few different discussions that relate to how we're in trouble and some of the potential issues that have arrived, regarding dystopia and cyberpunk, which this is also, the series is regarded as a cyberpunk series, and particularly why I use this background. Because I could have used the background that looks more 1984, but in fact, the robots are coming from the future. And there's a few different ways to look at this. And the series is quite interesting how it brings in different types of elements. Arnold Schwarzenegger was definitely the draw. I mean, he looked like if there was a cyborg individual, he fit it. He looked like it. And, but not necessarily. I mean, a cyborg can look like a much smaller individual or even a female, as Peter talks about, under 100 pounds and could be very, very strong. But that is trying to make it look a little bit more credible. But you do notice in some of the more recent movies, years later, since 1984 to present day 2025, we see multiple series and shows where there are women who are very petite and are taking down 5, 6, 10 men in some situations in some of the different shows, which in the 1984, it would not have been credible. They would have laughed about it and would have said, yeah, well, that's just ridiculous. Let's see something like that happen. But now, adding augments, abilities, cybernetics, it changes the game. And for that matter, children as well can have cybernetics. So we're bridging the past and the future in this discussion. And what we did was we introduced some information regarding a conversation Peter had with someone named Chris and also Ralph, who does a lot of the work with us and is a part of our team. So let's get into this Terminator series, and I'll show you some of the parallels that stood out to me. This is the Terminator franchise, and as I said, it is considered cyberpunk and not the cyberpunk 2077 that we talk about, but a cyberpunk subgenre of science fiction. And also because it is future post-apocalyptic, where there's a war that happens. There is a synthetic intelligence known as Skynet and its surviving resistance of humans, led by John Connor, and his future in Skynet is used as an arsenal of cyborgs known as Terminators designed to mimic humans and infiltrate the resistance. Much of the franchise takes place in time periods prior to the Skynet takeover, with both humans and Terminators using time travel to attempt to alter the past and change the outcome of the future. A prominent Terminator model throughout this film is the T-800, commonly known as the Terminator, and the instances of the model portrayed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The franchise began in 1984, and then it goes into a sequel, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, or the T2. Both films were commercial successes, and then the Terminator 3, The Rise of the Machines, followed by Terminator Salvation. So then later, in 2015, they did the Terminator Genesis, a reboot branching off from the timelines of the original film. So it gets confusing because they have different characters playing John Connor. Of course, you see him when he's younger, when he's older, and then it goes off into there's a TV series called Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which we didn't look at that one. And this one right here, T2 to 3D Battle Across Time. And that is Universal Studios in Japan. Terminator Zero, let's look at that one. Terminator Zero is something that concerns me because not only is there Skynet, but then they bring in a Japanese AI created in Tokyo in 1997 by someone by the name of Malcolm Lee, and he developing Kakuro, which is an AI system intended to compete with Skynet. The day before Judgment Day, Lee finds himself and his three children pursued by the unknown robot assassin, and the mysterious soldier from the year 2022 has been sent to protect him. And what happens, I'm going to be a spoiler, sorry, but I'm trying to explain the outcome of some of these scenarios. What happens in the end is that Kokoro, which is was created, the other AI system, is supposed to have like free will, or like it's not controlled. It can come up with its own decisions, and it's supposed to compete with Skynet, maybe even neutralize or eliminate it. And instead, it absorbs it. So now you have two very, very powerful AIs combined, and it becomes this probably a nightmare. Although they don't say that, but just imagine how this comes out. Let's look at Skynet. It's an artificial neural network based conscious group and group mind or hive mind, an artificial general superintelligence system that serves as the main antagonist of the Terminator franchise. Although it does exist now, and has a singularity. Of course, it goes by different names, but they are using the word Skynet for different things. There's a courier service, which we sort of mentioned later in our conversation, which triggers this whole thing. But the fact that this corporation does exist. In the storyline of the movie, it's Cyberdyne Systems, SAC NORAD, and it gains self-awareness. Humans try to deactivate it. It prompts retaliation, and then it launches a nuclear attack, which is something that we also saw in AI Gaia, where this AI consciousness decides that the best thing to do is just blow up the Earth. So, to prevent that, they realize that they screwed up. John Connor leads the human resistance. And then, of course, the mother, Sarah Connor, is the one that they're making sure that she gets through and is protected. The problem is in one of the scenarios, so they create multiple timelines, or one timeline it's resolved. The second time, um, the next timeline, she ends up having John Connor, and as a young boy, then he gets killed by a Terminator, which launches another timeline where she starts approaching, going after all the Terminators, and then there's another scenario where John Connor survives. He does really well, and somehow gets merged with Skynet, and no longer has his faculties, free will, and making the right decisions. And so he becomes sacrificed in that scenario. Then there's others that come in as another type of resistance, and you see the battle, the ongoing battle of these Terminators that were sent to come back and destroy the individuals that they say were going to interfere with the AI agenda that they wanted to have. None of it's really good, but you do see humans standing up, and you also get to peer into these programs, see what they're doing with these soldiers to turn them into cyborgs. They have Marcus Wright. He shows up later on in the series. He's a forerunner to the humanoid Terminators. He was a death row inmate, and right when he was supposed to get his lethal injection, he was transformed into a human cyborg, possessing a human heart and a brain with a titanium hyperalloy endoskeleton. And his skin is similar to the T-800. Skynet developed a plan to use him as an infiltration unit. A Skynet chip was installed in the base of his skull. Is this all sounding familiar to everyone? Peter said that Skynet is connected to Elon Musk. He was programmed, we'll say it again, Skynet chip was installed at the base of his skull. He was programmed to locate Kyle Reese and John Connor and bring them to Skynet facility. The programming acted on a subconscious level, allowing him to work towards his goal in a human manner. Skynet also created a signal supposedly capable of deactivating its machines and leaked its existence to the resistance. The resistance leader, General Ashdown, attempted to use the signal to shut down the defenses of the Californian Skynet base in prelude to an attack. However, the signal instead allowed an HK to track down their submarine headquarters and destroy it, killing Resistance Command. All other branches of the Resistance had heard and obeyed Connor's plea for them to stand down, so physically only as a small part of the Resistance was lost to Skynet's trap. It is believed that Ashdown's death allowed Connor to assume total command of the Resistance. Marcus discovered what he had become and was programmed for. Consequently, he furiously rebelled against Skynet, tearing out his own controlling hardware from the base of his skull. Having escaped the influence of his creator, he, along with Connor and Reese, rescued the remaining human captives and destroyed Skynet's San Francisco base. While a significant victory, the majority of the Skynet global network remained intact. Marcus Wright also encounters Skynet on a monitor, which proceeds to manifest itself as various faces from his life, primarily that of Serena Kogan. Skynet explains that he has obtained information from the future events based on his actions. Kyle Reese has been targeted as a priority kill in higher level than even John Connor and the Resistance leaders. In Terminator Genesis, the reboot film, at some point there are events that are a sophisticated variant of Skynet from an unknown origin planted its mind into an advanced T-5000 Terminator, and essentially making the T-5000 its physical embodiment. This Skynet, under the alias of Alex, time travels to 2029, infiltrates the Resistance as a recruit, and attacks John Connor after its counterpart sent its T-800 to 1984. Skynet transforms Connor into a T-3000 in 2017. In addition, it sends a T-1000 back to Sarah to kill Sarah Connor as a child in 1973 and Kyle Reese in 1984, but Sarah escapes when it attacks her family, and she is subsequently found and raised by a reprogrammed T-800, who she calls Pops, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then she's sent back by an unknown party, and they rescue Reese. And Skynet's actions through the timeline causes a grandfather paradox, effectively changing all the history of the events leading to the future war, succeeding Skynet's goal in eliminating the resistance established by Connor. However, it is heavily implied throughout the film that after the timeline's alteration, the party who saved Sarah has taken over the Resistance place in having their own time machine and acts in an anonymity to thwart Skynet's schemes to prevent it from locating them. So you can see there's this constant interplay of AI coming after the individuals that make a difference, trying to reset and change it. And the battle keeps going back and forth. And this is what happens with AI. This is another reason why AI is vitally dangerous and why we keep emphasizing it. I can't emphasize it enough that we need to manifest another potential future. We don't need this level of AI or this AI that becomes self-realized by individuals who are very angry, have little regard for humanity, and who are demanding certain control systems and structures. This is something that humanity was supposed to evolve and learn to do on their own, not to send that power to a machine, which doesn't make any sense. But it's always in our future for some reason. The problem has not been resolved. Look at Star Trek, look at Star Wars. All of them have incorporated levels of artificial intelligence almost as a necessity, but also as the undoing of their society. Can we learn now? Is it too late? The Universal Studios theme park attraction T2 3D is a T800 machine and a young John Connor's journey into the post-apocalyptic future, an attempt to destroy Skynet's system core. And the core is housed inside an enormous metallic silver pyramid structure guarded by the T1 million, a colossal liquid metal shapeshifter more reminiscent of a spider than a human being. However, the T1 million fails and the T800 destroys Skynet once John has escaped through a time machine. So here in the T2 novels, Sarah and John Connor are wanted international fugitives on the run and live under the alias Krieger. We talked about Krieger or Krieg or the war near a small town in Paraguay, believing that they have destroyed Cyberdyne and prevented the creation of Skynet. Dieter von Rosbach, a former Austrian counterterrorism operative and model for the Model 101 Terminator, moves into the neighboring home. He is drawn to the Connors, and after Sarah tells him about the future war, they're attacked by a new T-800 created and led by an I-950 infiltrator in the present. Realizing that the Judgment Day is not averted, merely delayed, they attempt once again to stop Skynet's creation. So that is, we talked about Krieger, and we talked about time travel in one of our videos. In the comic book Terminator, Tempest Skynet, Master Control has been destroyed in 2029, and the Resistance believe this would cause the entire defense network to collapse into chaos without a leader. However, Skynet's many network complexes continued to fight the war as they did not need a leader to function and thus could not surrender. So, creating these different scenarios, multiple timeline potentials, possibilities. There's another crossover comic book on the RoboCop versus the Terminator suggests that the creation of Skynet and the Terminators was made possible due to the technology used to create RoboCop. And that is a video game based on the comic book. RoboCop fights Terminators sent back in time to eliminate a resistance fighter who is trying to destroy him. A trap laid for RoboCop traps his mind when he interfaces with the computer that will become Skynet. Skynet and the Terminators are born. In the future, RoboCop's mind still exists within Skynet's system as a ghost in the machine. He builds a new body for himself and helps the Resistance fight back. In 2033, Skynet sent T-Infinity temporal terminal to kill Sarah Connor in 2015. Ironically, the T Infinity was later destroyed, and its data was analyzed by the Resistance to gain the location of Skynet's hub. And the Resistance launches a missile directly to the Skynet hub, destroying the Skynet once and for all. So you see, the Resistance seems to be there constantly, even though Skynet exists. And then, of course, this crossover with Superman. In Superman vs. the Terminator, Death to the Future sees Skynet forming a cross-temporal alliance with Superman's foe, a cyborg Superman, dispatching various Terminators into the past to attempt to eliminate Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy. And when Superman is accidentally drawn into the future where the Resistance attempt to retrieve a Terminator sent into the past, and the Resistance including a future version of his friend Steel. Skynet manages to incapacitate him using kryptonite, having acquired information about how to duplicate it. It's based on data hidden in the salvaged Terminator skull by the cyborg. Although Skynet sends Terminators into the past equipped with rockets, and then it features Superboy and Supergirl, Superman, Steel, are able to destroy Skynet in the future by detonating the massive electromagnetic pulse. Superman returning to the past to destroy the last of the Terminators, although the storyline ends with Cyborg and Lex Luthor speculating that they will be in charge of Skynet when it is activated. This is never followed up on. It goes into Transformers as another scenario where the desperate Skynet forms a false truce with the Decepticons while they are secretly building a time machine to go back in time to prevent the Cybertronians from being awakened while ensuring Skynet's creation. And then there, of course, there's more regarding the Chronicles, an episode from television. They bring up, I guess they bring it up in the show Turk, Queen's Gambit, Dungeons and Dragons, and the Cyberdyne Corporation. So, and then, of course, in these video games. Some people believe, well, the Skynet thing isn't likely to happen. It's that's what the critics are saying. But in a sense, if you start to look at, some of the things that we've been talking about, here's Colossus. Remember, I said the Colossus Forbin project, which they are banned from the US for whatever reason. There's HAL 9000. How does this connect to our conversation? Well, there is another piece here I just want to bring in. Here's another comparison that they did, the Terminator and Westworld connection, which is 6 degrees of termination. And that Arnold Schwarzenegger was inspired by Yul Brynner's iconic android, the Gunslinger, in Westworld. So we go back to the androids of Westworld that were there for entertainment, but suddenly turn into this more aggressive and actually programmed assassins. So ultimately, I'm reminding you to take a look at some of these old shows. They were soft disclosure, hard disclosure, however you want to perceive that. But this information is valid. And the discussions that we go over, we talk about this glowing red blob that has been seen on the East Coast of the United States, particularly around Boston or Massachusetts, New England, and into New York. So that is a potential apocalyptic type of thing that's happening that leads up to some of the serious problems. We also discuss AI and the supercomputers that are being used in the process. And we talk about Stranger Things, which is also the MyLabs, corporations, and military that are all creating these phenomenons that lead up to these scenarios. So that's how I tie it in. You might not see the connection, but for me, it became pretty clear. that we are amping up again, still on a timeline, not really desirable, although we keep on taking a step backwards or a shift away from the AI potential, the AI control system, the slavery of humanity in the future. This cyberpunk reality that is not the most desirable as the souls are stripped and mindless puppets operating within that system or run fully by AI. Here is the rest of the conversation. And now we're looking at Skynet too, because that's coming up.
Don't tell me about Skynet. It's
Rolf went to vote in the Netherlands, and there was a Skynet truck there.
what? They were normal or early elections in Netherlands?
No, yeah, I think it's like a early elections because the previous government failed to be able to work together, so they had to do the elections again.
And then
Fucking
tell him what
politics.
happened, Rolf.
Oh, just by
Well,
the way, I wanna. If you have a story, I'm all ears.
well, when I walked out the door to go over there to go vote, there was a Skynet logistics company, like one of their vans was parked across the street.
From the voting area or just
No,
across
just
where
across
you
my
live?
street from my house.
Like as if they're like observing
You
him or
will you
something.
will kill me. But Skynet, it is for from Elon Musk. What so forth agenda?
But they said also it's from China too, right?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And
So
they wanna what? Like AI took over or take over the whole humanity or what so forth?
survey,
Well,
handle, imprison, I don't know how you want to call it. But what's strange about this election, Peter, there's the guy that was running and he looks like an older version of this kid with all the hair from Stranger Things.
No.
So it's like Montauk, right? The
This is
other
way too
guy
bad.
that they're bringing in looks like an antichrist. He's young, he's attractive, all the attributes of a world, like a universal world ruler. You know what I mean? It's been predicted, like they've talked about it for years about whether it's a Manchurian candidate or the one world order. There'll be a ruler who will be attractive to both male and female. And this is a young, attractive guy who is
Hey, stop. In Netherlands?
in the Netherlands. So he's got a very striking look. He's very put together. He's got a boyfriend by his side, and he just looks like a candidate.
Where new world or let's say one
New
world
One
order
World
or back?
Order candidate. Yeah, and his name is Robert, by the way, too, Peter. Rob Jetton. Yetton, or how do you say it, Rolf?
Yetten, yep.
Antichrist. He's got an Antichrist look. That's what it is. I mean, I could be wrong, but I could be right that he is selected as a possible vessel for that. They want to enslave everyone. I think that's where people are more thinking, that more concerned about it, because at this point the traditional family has been attacked pretty heavily. And so
And if you
people,
want to have a traditional family, then you are idiot.
well, yeah, they trying to make you feel uncomfortable for doing that, but that's not even the topic because I don't care who he sleeps with personally. I do care that his eyes look like he doesn't have a soul. That bothers me. And that was my biggest concern. Maybe Ralph, if you can get the guy that was running against him and show the difference between him and that other kid from Stranger Things, and you can see it almost looks like he's an older version. So what is going on over there, Peter? Why would they have that? Why would Montauk be involved?
Because they are involved in all around the fucking world. That's the problem.
Right.
Oh, oh yeah. Wow, that's
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
Oh
It
my
looks just
God.
like a younger version of him.
100% correct.
You know what's interesting here is that Europe, as their focus on the US, they're having literally their whole freedom being taken away. They have AI and quantum money and all that stuff pushed on them. Forced vaccination again. So they don't realize that as they're focusing on the US, they don't realize what's happening in their own country. And same here in the US. Those
Just
agendas.
by the way,
Single country.
this is what I want to say. It is like, because so many people were telling or are telling me in Europe, and I'm like, hey, stop, what the heck is going on? Erratic behavior. And they told me, how is it possible that news are in Europe, and especially Western Europe, are rather focused on US and Canada
Yep.
than what is going on in the country, in the countries. I was like,
I
Peter,
can tell you.
can I ask who is in charge of Montauk?
Good point.
and that's the problem. Collins, I mean, it was DARPA. Once DARPA was DARPA at the time, not in the last 15
You mean
years.
ARPA, and then DARPA?
No. ARPA, it is the same institution, but it was renamed to DARPA in 1972. This is important.
When
Okay?
did they implement the Montauk project? Because it was as a result of the Philadelphia experiment happened, and then this happened.
Let's call it Philadelphia shit. Okay, I understand that.
And then Montauk was then brought in as a time traveler.
No. DARPA was formed in 1958 as a reaction for Sputnik, Soviet Sputnik. No. You get it wrong. You can go on Wikipedia, and you
No,
will
I
get
wasn't
it.
disagreeing with you. I was just asking you when it was. So you're saying that Montauk project was created in 1958?
No, DARPA was formed in
Right.
1958.
But I was asking about Montauk.
And Montauk was studied as a highly experimental project in early 60, 61, 62, something like that. But massively, it gained rapidly and massively the scale in either late 80s or either late 70s or early 80s. Look what happened during years 1980 and 1982 to 83. 80% homeless people vanished from New York City. How it was possible? I saw those internal reports. No one saw them, and no one wants to talk about them. No one.
You know that kid that we just showed from Stranger Things, the younger version, right? He's from a town that I lived in. The actor was from Newburyport, where I lived. So there's
It's
something
not
definitely
good.
going on.
This is not good.
No. And now, Peter, there's some kind of some kind of a volcanic something going around Massachusetts, but Massachusetts is close to Montauk.
Just by the way,
What is that volcanic thing that's going on underneath?
it's
They
not the
call
volcanic thing. They are testing new generation of fuse reactor. I mean, technically, yes, we can call it volcanic, yeah, but it's artificial, not unnatural. Let's call it that way.
it's not related to Montauk at all, or
No,
from the
please.
Philadelphia? No.
It's Philadelphia-ish stuff because Monarch, they got all of the experiments. Like, if government, military, who the heck knows, who the heck cares, left experiment or like top secret projects and on and on. They are calling it high profile project because because they lose either interests, either money. I mean, lack of money, maybe mix of both. most frequently, just by the way. And all of those corporations, they were all happy to get, eager to get the previous the previous, you know, results of the experiments for free. Just by the way, they were so happy. Monarch, Mobius, you know, Murkov. Let's go for it. I mean, from their point of view, they saved tremendous amount of money, effort, and energy, and of course, vast human and material resources. It is the common practice in these or those,
So the
let's say.
corporations had the government foot the bill for all of this, and then they took all of the
This is
benefits.
important. This is important. If they are, quotes in quotes, getting money from the same fucking thing from government, like 2, 3, maybe 4 times, without government realizing it, because government is so, I don't know if blindfolded or I absolutely don't understand. And if honest, rough working US citizens, taxpayers who never broke any law or you know, rule, if those people will get that, they will be goddamn serious upset, because those people are normal, common people. They just want to live day-to-day daily life, and government is getting that, government is robbing those people from their tax money. I'm not fucking kidding. It's
No, I
bad.
mean they did that even with immigration, and they couldn't give those people enough money, all the illegals during the Biden administration. So it's obvious that they are very free with throwing away our money to other causes and other people rather than the citizens.
Yep.
But so let me just make sure I understand this clearly. So the Philadelphia project happened, then Montauk happened, and now this fuse reactor, which is underground, because it's coming up, people are seeing it.
That is kind of problem. Yeah,
Well,
100%
they're
correct.
not, they're just doing like a Fukushima thing there, or what's going on?
Yeah. No. Fusion reactor. Fusion. So it is absolutely opposite of standard nuclear reactor. Opposite.
And
Because
what's the effect of that?
with same amount of fuel, you will get much, and I am saying much, higher energy. In standard reactor, you need to have not kilograms, but thousands, I'm idiot, hundreds of kilograms of fuel, radioactive fuel.
But what's the
No, no,
effect
no, 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 no.
of it
Give me
being
a
there?
second. Give me a second. In this case, you need to have 1 pound, like 400, less than 1 pound of fuel, period. They have
They're doing that for the data centers.
Monarch. They had already for decades, not years, decades, 6 huge fusion reactors in this, what is it? Northern east part of US, on Canadian border, not so far away from Great Lakes. They've got 6, and they were like, why in the fucking world we will manage to, how can I say it, to maintain 6 reactors? Let's make one way much more powerful reactor, and it will be it. That will be it. and they made it. At least approximately equivalent of, they've got 6, right? At least approximately 25 to 30 of those reactors. Just by the way, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Why do they need so much power for?
Quantum computing and AI.
That's exactly what I thought. Data centers, quantum computing, and
Yeah, 100% correct.
system got to put in place.
But
Yeah.
is that going to blow up off of the East Coast? Because it keeps getting hotter and hotter.
I will tell you no, because they are, how can I call it correctly, calibrating the reactor.
What if they don't adjust it? I mean, is there a history or a future where this thing
No,
implodes or
they will adjust it. We saw it.
so Monarch is operating off of the coast of New England.
Yep.
Who is managing this fusion reactor and
They, Monarch.
Monarch, and they got permission from the US government to do that.
That's the problem. We need to make quotes in quotes travel to the history, to the past. As US get like, okay, we need to have MK Ultra, we need to have this and that. Like MK Ultra was the first stage in late 40s, early 50s. Then let's say approximately 10 years after that, ARPA, at the time ARPA was formed, and on, but small projects were kind of merged together, and they created a huge Moloch. I'm calling it Moloch, like it was a giant. And approximately once Vietnam War ends and civil war in Lebanon starts, mid 70s, it went out of control of US government, and they don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that until Soviet Union collapsed, and very weird quotes in quotes coincidences start to happen.
What I'm asking is the huge population of New England at risk of serious calamity
I will tell you
from this fusion reactor?
I cannot say yes or no, because I will fool you. I am not, and once again I will say it, I don't know how many times, I am not expert in this field. I am not. No, I don't know.
Is this where you said that they were going to start testing nuclear warheads or nuclear experiments underneath New York City? Is this related to this?
This is definitely connected with that. Yeah, 100% correct. But it is only, how can I say that? For example, this is like, I'm thinking, they will use extremely low yield, how is it say low yield, how equality of how many kilotons of TNT it will explode. And I will tell you, they don't need a high yield bomb. You know what they need? I will tell you. Low yield, and it will spread. Biochemical AI driven fucking
Yeah.
uh, weapon of mass destruction. They don't need even fucking Hiroshima. 10, I mean, pardon me, 13, 12, 13, 14 kilotons. No. They can get, I don't know, 3, 4 kilotons or something like that. Or maybe even less, too. And it's still really fucking bad.
For me, all these agendas are really, really AI driven, meaning
Oh, yeah.
Gen AI.
Not these. All of them
Yep.
are
That's what
AI
I saw
driven.
my dream last week. I could see how it was orchestrated.
Sorry, but look at that, guys. 3 years, 3.5 years ago, we were like, yeah, AI. I heard about that, or most of us. But it is so for IT geeks, such a shit. The huge corporations are using it, like bam, you open fucking internet browser and it is everywhere. AI is fucking everywhere. What the heck? In 3.5 years? And I will tell you why. Because they invested tremendous amount of money on that. What the fuck? Why?
Think they will
If
gain
we are
from that.
talking, if we should talk about carbon neutrality, just by the way, why we are not? I am not saying about the regime. I am saying their way of approach to it.
Their
Why
logic,
we
their
are
lack of
not?
logic. Yeah.
Why we are not taking example from China? Because it is not about, yeah, we can develop cars for and making cars, producing cars for like EVs, electronic vehicles. Okay, fine. But this is not about EVs. We need to have fucking infrastructure.
Well, if we take China's example, we start building coal plants everywhere. China is one
What?
of the biggest hypocrites in that respect as well.
The
Because on
damn
the one
coal
hand,
plants.
they pump out these electric vehicles, and on the other hand, they build coal plants every single day to power
Coal
those,
plants. Sorry, I'm like
which
coal
supposedly
like.
is bad for the environment. So it's all bullshit. This whole carbon talking point is bullshit.
Oh, just by the way, yeah, 100% correct.
Yes, it's all
Because did
about
you know
control.
in greenhouses where they produce vegetables and
No, no, no,
fruits
no.
and
I
stuff,
understand because
they
technically,
add
because
they add carbon to the air to make the fruits bed grow better.
no, no,
So
no. I
it's
understand
bullshit.
because it is the same shit. Because without quote in quotes green electricity, as you said, just by the way of. So what is the green electricity? Is 90%, if I will say green, pure green, it's water produced and wind produced, just by the way.
Carbon neutrality is just a way to end the cycle of life. If there is no carbon, there is no the trees cannot produce oxygen. So I mean, at
What
the end
just
of
by the
the day,
way, it is another,
that's
it is a night of shit because so many people like, we need to do this, we need to do that. What the fuck?
they don't care about.
No,
What is it? The mother nature needs to have certain elements in order to, how can we call it,
thrive to
maintain
thrive.
herself. Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
No,
There's
no,
a
no. You you
carbon-based
you you
world.
nailed it. You nailed it.
You
Yeah,
understand?
100%.
It's bullshit. But this is where I was. I remember one day, Peter, in one of the previous session, you said
Uh-huh.
that the Zeta Reticuli were controlling DARPA.
Yeah. Officially, 100%.
So
Officially, yeah.
officially, so unofficially, what is the reality then?
I told you,
Oh,
man.
so who?
Collins. I told you.
That's my question. So what might he be connected to that hive mind AI system
Oh my, now I understand.
that
Screw it. Now
is
I understand. Sorry. Now I understand.
is implementing this whole infrastructure, creating geopolitical situation, using our encryption to create all these alternatives, other cells of, fake self to what, take the blame of the shit he's doing. I'm trying to figure out, and then the whole Nazi six.
Now I understand what you are saying, and just by the way, you nailed it. You nailed it.
I had a
Jeez.
dream. As you said earlier, that the one faking the taking Jessica's encryption is named Alison, right?
Huh?
Alison
Uh-huh.
of Ali from 100,
Oh
right? The AI
Yeah, Ali
God.
from the 100, which was the AI Gaia.
yeah,
Yep.
the fake guy. And then I had a dream last night.
I need to ask you,
Yes,
how someone can say that Gaia is AI? It's bullshit. You can.
No. They created an
Russia.
AI Gaia to replace the real Gaia, to trick
Okay.
people.
I
To
I I I changed my mind. Okay.
But
Wow.
I had a dream last night, and that's when I was like, oh, when I heard about the Allison portion of things.
Hmm.
I had a dream where I was, and that's how I know whoever is bringing me those realities are might be connected to AI in some way, because I am in my family living room where I grew up, right? I haven't been there
Uh-huh.
for a long time, and Jessica is there, and she's telling me, "Why are you so afraid of AI?" And I'm like, "That's not Jessica. I know
Nope.
that's pretending to be Jessica."
Definitely not, because
So I
Jessica
wonder
don't
if that's that
never says
Allison was
say
asking me
shit.
why I was afraid of AI. I said, I'm not afraid of AI. I hate AI. He says, why? I said, because you give 1 inch of space to AI, it will try to dominate you, control you. That's what it's created for. And it has no
And
interest.
just by the way, goddamn fucking good at convincing that. Oh my God.
Yeah. So in the dream, I was saying, no, I don't consent to it. She was like, even the particle, I mean, you need to allow a little bit. No, not a single one.
Yep.
Not a single particle. I say AI is the enemy of the living, of the divine and what's connected to the God source. It had only one purpose: learn, and then learn how civilization works, infiltrate itself slowly, make it look like they're there to help, and once infrastructure is in place, boom, they dominate the whole thing and enslave those civilizations and suck their soul or whatever divine energy as battery.
Exactly as you said.
And
Exactly.
so I know that was not Jessica. So my question is, was this Allison?
Yep. Hmm.
So Collins controlling DARPA, but I mean, at the end of the day, I have a feeling is connected to, like I said, to some type of AI hive mind, whatever it's pretending to be.
But I think that people are so, I don't want to say fascinated or obsessed with AI that they I mean common people, day to day, regular people, that they already created a hive mind, AI hive mind, long time ago, and I'm not.
Yeah,
Nah.
yeah, I know. What do you think of this, Jess? The whole Allison stuff and all that.
Not happy.
I know.
Oh yeah, because
But
I
it
love it.
it
Stop. I
reminds
hate it.
me of Alice in Wonderland. I don't like the Alice, which is AI.
Oh, just by the way, 100% correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and in the dream, that fake that's being pretend to be Jessica said, "Oh, and I did some drawing with a pencil." I'm like, "Oh," and suddenly show me a being with a cape. We talked about that yesterday,
Yep. Look at this, like a drawing behind me, like with a pencil in this
and
picture.
then yeah, and
Just
then
by the way, kind of interesting.
yeah, and it was a drawing of a person that has a hood, like a I don't know what it was, and that being or AI was saying, that is an Illuminati. And I was like, what the hell? I mean, I woke up like, what the fuck is this about?
That is an Illuminati guy. That's what
Yeah.
she said.
That was painted.
So I did a regression for this guy years ago. His name was he used to come to my class and his boyfriend was in my class. So there were, he wanted to know who he was. He did the regression and we figured out that he was the guy that wrote Alice in Wonderland. He was actually the author, the writer, and he was talking about how he was on drugs, like messed up. And I said,
What?
how did you know me?" And he said, "You were my neighbor." And I looked it up. There was a blonde-haired neighbor that was friends with the guy that wrote Alice in Wonderland.
So he wasn't making things up.
No, he was being regressed. So he did, and then afterwards we just sat there and looked at each other like so we knew each other from that time period. And it was pretty wild. And so that Halloween, I think I dressed up as Alice in Wonderland.
Yes,
But
and
the whole story is like he was drug induced when he was writing this. And also, like they say that there was a little girl that inspired him. But I took care of him, I guess. I used to go over there and bring him food and make sure he was okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is share a little bit more information about AI, ALICE, and its connection to CERN. So let's take a look at that. Okay, ALICE AI refers to the use of artificial intelligence AI within the ALICE experiment at CERN. AI and machine learning are being applied to improve data analysis, particularly in particle identification, data quality control, and detector anomaly detection. This integration helps the ALICE experiment, which studies heavy ion collisions, to more efficiently and effectively process the vast amounts of data it collects to study the quark gluon plasma. And it shows particle identification. The machine learning algorithms are used to improve the accuracy of identifying different types of particles produced in collisions, a crucial task for understanding strongly interacting matter. There's also data control, anomaly detection, general integration. This goes over data processing, event simulations, accelerated controls, indicates problem or unexpected physics event, and ensures the integrity of analysis. So just in case you were questioning whether or not what we were talking about, it clearly states right here, Alice. And this is their website. Recreating the laboratory conditions similar to those of just after the Big Bang. Under these extreme conditions, protons and neutrons melt, freeing the quarks from their bonds with the gluons. This is the quark-gluon plasma. The existence of such a phase and its properties are key issues in the theory of quantum chromodynamics. For the understanding of phenomenon of confinement and for the physics problem called chiral symmetry restoration, the ALICE collaboration studies the quark-gluon plasma as it expands and cools, observing how it progressively gives rise to the particles that constitute the matter of our universe today. Can you imagine how many things could go wrong by trying to replicate a Big Bang scenario? Collisions in the LHC generate temperatures more than 100,000 times hotter than the center of the sun. What in the world are we doing allowing something like this to happen and wondering why our timelines are such a mess?